Welcome to the wonderful world of teaching, where we share practical tips and tricks in hopes that you will find a little classroom magic along the way. I'm Hannah, and I'm continuing my Spark series on the quiet magic of classroom management. This Spark is going to be on transitions. Now, it's going to be an overview of what transitions are, why they're important, and maybe some ideas. But hopefully you'll find some takeaways to apply or spur on some inspiration in your own classroom. Transitions are by far one of the things that can just derail how our classroom is going. We may have great routines and great procedures, but if we're not mindful of that time that's taken between each thing that a student's doing, whether it's cleaning up, moving on to the next activity, or lining up, moving down the hall, whatever it may be. If we're not mindful of that, it can really take away a lot of our time, and it can cause us to feel really stressed and overwhelmed as a teacher. So the first thing about classroom transitions is to train our students. So of course, we want to practice these, and oftentimes we practice them kind of in the moment. One of the things that I love doing was, and I kind of set the tone and make it like a practice. Okay, everybody, let's be really noisy. And as soon as you hear this bell sound, or as soon as you hear this sound, I want you all to freeze and look at me. Let's see how fast we can do it. By having them practice it in a setting where it's not in the middle of something, I think that gives its own kind of, okay, we're all going to practice this. It lets you as the teacher not feel like expectations are met because you're setting the tone that we're practicing this. This is something that has to happen constantly. So you can throw these in every now and then. Oh, it's getting really loud. Everyone, let's get a little bit louder. And when you hear this sound, let's quiet down. Okay, so having that, I think, kind of keeps it light. You're not getting frustrated, but keeping that, we're always going to be practicing this. So practicing kind of out of the situation before you're expecting the behavior is really important. And like I said, the sound is really great. Sometimes teachers just raise their hand as soon as a student sees it, and the rest of the class is quiet. This might work, and it might be good to kind of put in every now and then, but if you have a really chatty class, raising your hand might not be kind of the trigger to, oh, we all have to be quiet. So it might need to be a sound or some sort of hand motion or a song even. I loved playing songs in between transition times too, because it kind of fills that space for sound. I reckon, and it can be quiet. It doesn't have to be like, the latest pop song where all the kids are singing it. It can be a quiet, classical music sound. Okay, we're all listening. When I stop the song, we should all have been at our next center. We should all be cleaned up, ready to go and line up. So by playing the song, it fills that void of sound in our classroom. And I think sometimes when we don't have something playing, and we don't always have to have sound, but when we don't have sound playing, a lot of students feel uncomfortable in that silence. So they will fill it with their voice, and that's when voices start getting louder and louder. I do think that there's times for noise to be in classroom when students are working together, if they're playing kind of interactive games. I think these are great opportunities for a class to be loud. They just also need to know that when you as the teacher are signaling them to listen, that they need to listen. So if they don't, practice it again. That's really important. If they don't do what you're expecting, don't let them get away with it. Practice it again until they get it. There is the element of timing. I know, okay, let's see how fast we can do this. Sometimes just saying, let's see how fast we can do it. You don't even have to time them. Just knowing that, wow, that was so fast. Or, let's try it one more time. Let's see if we can get even faster. By doing that, I think it allows, it kind of changes a little bit. Oh, we're in a race. Oh, we're being competitive. What I caution with timing is that there are very competitive students. And so if it's like, okay, let's see if we can beat 7 seconds last time, and there's a student that's not listening, you could have a situation where students start blaming that student or targeting a group of students that aren't listening, or you're kind of, right, if you're timing them how fast and someone's going slower, obviously that student's going slower. And so if you don't have kind of a classroom community set up where we all work together, we all help each other, you can be creating a situation that you don't want to later deal with. So I caution with timing. It's fine to just be like, let's see how fast we can do this transition today. You can do that, or something else that might be helpful for you is just to randomly time, okay everyone, it's time to clean up. Just set a timer for yourself to see how long your students are taking to transition, because that might give you a little pulse check on, wow, my students, we are taking a long time, or oh, that went a little bit faster. So that can also help. It's kind of like checking for understanding, but just checking to see like how well your students are doing. You don't have to tell them that you're timing it, but it's a good little awareness for you as a teacher, like, goodness, we need to practice this skill. And then you can pull back and be like, oh, we got to practice. And that's that mindset that we have to have in our classrooms. Our students are learning all year long. And so when we start to get a little bit loose, or we're not as strong on our transitions, we got to pull back, we got to model, practice, reteach, and then celebrate that we did it correctly. So that's really important with transitions. I think something else that can help is if your class is starting to get really loud, kind of meet that vibe and be like, do loud, and then work to get quieter. I think sometimes when we're shouting over a class, it's hard. So it's like, you don't even have to use your voice really big, but just like big movements might help, like big jumps and tiny jumps. Wiggle, 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 and then slow down. Obviously, this is talking about elementary students, but I think you could probably be inspired somewhere to help middle school and high school students too. But sometimes, they just got to move around. If they've been sitting too long, is having that. And that's why I loved centers when I taught in lower elementary, is because you're working for a task for, no more than 10 minutes. You get up, you move, you do another task for 10 minutes. And that's a naturally built system that helps kids transit. It is transitioning quite a bit, but you're also giving them a little bit of movement, and you're changing the activity that they're working on, which I think helps create kind of calmer classrooms. So something else is just the ideas of, again, working with little kids. If there's something that you're teaching, like, if it's spring or winter, and there's something that the students could act out and do, that might help too. Like if it's bunny jumps, let's jump like a really big bunny, let's jump like a little small bunny. And then, kind of doing that, okay, now we're all gonna follow in line. So having that moment of just letting them get the wiggles out before you expect behavior can also really help with that calm classroom, and then just resetting and reframing the tone of what the expectation actually is. So I hope that you'll continue to join me on my Spark series of the quiet magic of classroom management. Please like, share, and subscribe to this video or my channel, and share a comment below of what transitions take the most time for you, or what ideas or takeaways you've had. With that, I'll see you at the next one.